Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and welcome back to day number 25 of March Madness. Today's page map sketch comes from February of 2023. I pulled out Light Up the Night from Kellybell Design. I'm going to document the Epcot Forever fireworks show. This one's going to come together pretty quickly because I'm going to let these embellishments really speak for these photos. I printed out one of the papers twice from the collection. The sketch calls for a pattern paper on the left-hand side and then a solid paper on the right-hand side. I decided to pull out my Doodlebug Petite prints in a cupcake color. I have the tone-on-tone polka dots. That's going to go on the left-hand side. And then for the right-hand side of the layout, I'm going to use this really pretty teal sparkly paper. I also cut out this firework paper, and I'm going to cut that one in half so that it spans from the top and bottom, just like the sketch calls for. I did decide to cut off the blue part of the paper for the left-hand side because I wanted more of the purple to show. I cut out this word art really large, but I definitely wanted it to be a focal point for this layout. I'm going to get the photos laid out. The right-hand side of the layout is going to be photos from my PhotoPass. If you purchase the PhotoPass from Disney, they will take photos of you in the park, but you will also get lots of stock photos. And these particular photos are photos that Disney has taken of Epcot Forever. On the left-hand side of the layout, I have these 4 photos of Nicholas watching the fireworks. The fireworks in the photos are not that great. However, I really love the silhouette of Nicholas that the fireworks provided. So that's really what I'm focusing on. And then I do have the beautiful photos of the fireworks on the right-hand side. So I did go ahead and get that black paper cut out, and I'm going to add this ombre paper to the left-hand side. Of course, I had to pull out my T-square ruler, and I did lots of math in my head trying to figure out where this paper needed to line up. I did add just a small little pencil mark so that I could move my T-square ruler and make sure that it lined up straight. Of course, I did go ahead and put adhesive all the way to the edge of that firework paper, so I had to pull that up. The sketch calls for the photo to be over a little bit on the left, but I decided to put my photo all the way to the edge of the layout just to cover up that seam. I am going to have 2 photos flat to the layout, and then I'm also going to pull out a flip flap so that I can add 2 additional photos. The photos are pretty much the same, but I just couldn't narrow it down from those 4. And I took a lot more than that. Of course, I had to change out my ATG, so I did that real quickly. And then I'm gonna start to build up the right-hand side of the layout. My favorite fireworks show is Happily Ever After from Magic Kingdom. We don't tend to watch the other nighttime shows at the other parks. Happily Ever After is such an amazing fireworks show that even the other nighttime shows at Disney World just don't hold a candle to it. However, on this particular day, Nicholas was really excited to see the fireworks, and so we did stop and take the time to watch it. The good thing about Epcot's fireworks is you can see it anywhere around World Showcase, so I do feel like it is less busy than over at Magic Kingdom when the best spot at Magic Kingdom is in front of the castle. So I did pull out my flip flap and get those 2 photos inside the flip flap. I did decide that I was going to have the flip flap going downward. I did print out one more paper from the collection, and it's this black polka dotted paper. I pulled out my border punch to add a border to it, and I'm going to add it over on the far left-hand side of the layout at the edge of that ombre paper. I did feel like there wasn't enough separation between those 2 pieces of paper, and I wanted to bring over some of this teal paper to the left-hand side. I had this fantastic idea, and I say that sarcastically, of trimming out a piece in the center of the layout just with my X-Acto knife and my T-square ruler. But here's the problem with that. The piece was not straight. So I tried to trim it down with my trimmer, but here's the issue with that, is I did not cut the paper straight. I tried to trim it down with my paper trimmer, but it was so small that I was having difficulty doing that. And then it was also too short. And it really didn't matter because I knew that the word art would cover up a majority of it, but I just didn't like the way that it was looking. I tried tucking it underneath that other piece, but that piece was down. So I decided to pull up the right-hand side of the layout again, and this time use my paper trimmer to trim it out so that I knew that it would be straight. I knew that I could use the X-Acto knife on the edges to get it out of the center. And then I'm going to line it up once again and get the right-hand side of the layout back down. And I like that size a lot better. So I go ahead and get that down. It's not perfectly straight, but again, the top part was going to be covered with this word art. Now I decided to add an offset to this particular word art, and I colored the offset in my silhouette black. And I love the way that this looks. I feel like it gives it a completely different look than if I had done the offset with the white. It definitely looks like the nighttime sky. I also decided to do the same thing with the other pieces from this collection. You can see the pieces that I'm taking off my mat here. I put an offset on each one of those and then colored the offset black. I love the camera and that heart. Those were gold, and with the black offset, it is just a gorgeous piece. I added 2 of the fireworks as well as this piece here that says Disney After Dark, and I did decide to put that one up on fun foam. I felt like I did need a little bit more color up there at the top, so I did add a gold star, and I really tried to make that camera work on several different pieces. I finally do get it down on the layout, and I'm really glad because I think that's probably my favorite piece. Over on the far right, I do add a star as well as some of the florals from the kit. And I add all of those down flat to the layout. Again, I tried to make that camera work, and it just wasn't working on the right-hand side of the layout. I also added a purple flower up to the right as well. Over on the left-hand side, there's this like circle that has starburst coming out of it. So I added that, and then I pulled out my bling, and I'm gonna add a ton of bling. I feel like the bling really plays into the fireworks as well. I pulled out my purple bling, and I'm adding it to the clusters on the right-hand side, as well as the title cluster. And then I pulled out my pink bling. This color combination of the teal, the purple, the pink, and then the black is probably one of my favorite color combinations, and that's probably why this layout came together so quickly, because I just was so inspired by the colors of the paper as well as how well they matched the fireworks on the right-hand side of the layout. I decided to put a gemstone in each one of the flowers. I have pink ones as well as purple and blue ones. And then I decided to add a really large flourish over on the left-hand side, and I feel like that ties that bottom cluster to the title cluster at the top. And then I added one more small blue flourish to the right just to tie in the blue that I added to the left. I then pulled out these letters from Ellie Studio to spell out the word Epcot. Of course, having to pull out my T-square ruler to make sure that they were straight. And I think the white letters really pop off of that purple paper right next to all of that black. This particular fireworks show is called Epcot Forever, so I pulled out those same stickers that I used yesterday to spell out the word forever. I did put them up on foam adhesive from scrapbook.com, and then added the word forever right below the word Epcot. I really wanted to try to make that star work, but it just wasn't working. I did have the other half of that firework, so I added that over to the left. And then I finally was able to get this little camera down. I decided to add it over to the far left-hand side of the layout. I also realized that I had this teal flower, and I felt like having it over on the left-hand side would bring in the teal sparkly paper from the right. So I tucked that behind the camera. And then I pulled out my color boxes in clear and added some sparkly stars around the layout, as well as some white sparkly enamel dots. And then finally pulled out my purple color boxes and added some purple bling around the layout as well. As I'm putting the rest of this bling down, I did want to remind you guys that I do have playlists on my channel. I have a playlist for pretty much any topic that you can think of. I have them for Disney as well as each one of the holidays. I have them based on manufacturers. And I also have one called Sketch Inspired Layouts, and that includes all of my videos. So if you wanted to binge watch Life in Layouts, that is a great way to do it. All right, that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. I did do my journaling offline, and it says, I love these pictures of Nicholas enjoying Epcot Forever. This firework display is designed around medleys of Epcot's music, including children's voices quoting various attractions, along with memorable audio clips of Walt Disney. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.